my tangerine.
This is a late show at Cornelia Street Cafe. At 8 in the night, people are lining up at the entrance to the basement. The performer for this night, Alexa Bacchini, is a New York-based jazz vocalist. For Cornelia Street Cafe, jazz is a signature. Since first opening its doors in 1977, it has been a gathering place for the likes of singers-songwriters and poets.
I work in your orchards of peaches and prunes.
Well, I sometimes describe it as a lunatic whim. Because we were artists, all kinds of things began to happen, outside and inside.
We come with the dust, and we go with the wind.
In the early days, artists would come to talk about music, play their originals, and chat. Over the years, over 5,000 songs were performed in here. The group has become known as the Songwriters Exchange and released an album on Stash Records in 1980. The tradition has lived through vicissitudes. Time goes by, the Greenwich Village has seen the closure of famous music venues like the Gaslight, where Bob Dylan and Dave Van Ronk used to play, and witnessed the evolution of music. But here at Cornelia, jazz has always been a staple.
You try to reinvent yourself and keep fresh. It's very difficult. Right now it's very difficult because our rent is 77 times what it was when we opened. You cannot charge 77 times what you were charging 40 years ago when, let's say, we were charging $1 for a croissant. We can't charge $77 for a croissant.
The stage has been moved to downstairs. Now through the glass of the cafe, passersby can see people having dinner on candlelit tables, tasting house special ones and talking jovially. Meanwhile, underground, it is all about music, poem, and art. The narrow space has brought the performers and the audience closer. It feels more like a conversation rather than a show.
So it's a lot of tightrope walking, improvisation, and just gritting your teeth and going ahead. I don't want to become a museum, although weirdly somebody was just today earlier talking about foundations, sort of becoming interested in preserving the tradition. The danger of preservation is that you become mummified. It's very important, I think, that it continue, but it's also somehow younger blood needs to come in, it needs to be invigorated, it needs to have new people all the time.
The cafe has thus become a music landmark in New York. The melodies, the artistic aura which is conceived here, has penetrated Greenwich Village and New York as a whole.
This is what I think being open to new work and experiment is about. That some people who are unknown become known, and some people who are known enjoy the intimacy of playing in front of a smallish audience where they can actually hear you.
I slept on the ground in the light of the moon.
So that there's things still improvised. It's still a relationship between food and the arts, between drink I think we still have something of the same spirit, almost 40 years later.
It is early February, we're heading to Valentine's Day, so we're going to spend the whole night celebrating love.
This is in the heart of Greenwich Village, and Café Wa, a historic music venue that has hosted the likes of Bob Dylan, Jimi Hendrix, Bruce Springsteen, and many more, is a full house. Back in the 1960s, it was in this room, on this stage, that many classics met the ear of the audience. The musicians used very simple instruments like acoustic guitar and harmonica to utter their discontent of the age and their desire for change.
You know, the early 1960s and throughout the decade of the 60s, it was a real major shift in music and political climates and you know, ideas, and music was a huge part of the culture. It drove the culture. So for a lot of people, that kind of time period was very life-changing, and it changed a lot of things. And the music was one of the things that spoke to everybody.
Today's Café Wa is still an attraction. The venue holds just over 200 seats. 5 nights a week, the house band plays all styles of pop music, from classic oldies to funk and to R&B.
The stage is only a foot high. You know, we're not standing up separate. There's no backstage. There's no dressing room. There's nowhere to hide. Everybody's out here right in the middle of everybody else. These kinds of places are crucial to the continuation of music, popular music as we know it. Because without this kind of experience, without the ability to have a person sitting right in front of you, literally, where you can touch them, you know, that's how you learn to connect with people, and you learn what about you as an artist is connecting with someone, and how to improve your craft and get better. I've heard it several times, people call it their happy place. And they just come and it's like, okay, had a long day, need to decompress and relax. Just gonna go to Café Wa and have a drink, listen to some music, and be cool.
Decades have gone by since the heydays of underground music, but in Café Wa, something is still the same. The basement is kept away from Wi-Fi or even cell phone signals. Behind these doors, it is only about music.
This is where it all gets started, you know. This is where nobody goes straight to Madison Square Garden, you know. You don't just walk in there and play. There has to be a breeding ground. What's going on outside, you know, from every day, the news, you know, problems, all this kind of stuff. Music is the release, it's the escape, it's what we do to get away from that and to go to another kind of plane, you know. It takes you out of it, it takes you there, it takes you to a different place where you don't have to worry about all that stuff.
Traveling blind with colorful visions of a prosperous time.
A bunch of years ago, we played one song together at a charity.
It was a cover.
Yeah, it was a cover of a Simon and Garfunkel song at a charity concert, and it sounded very nice. And we had that was the first time we had tried playing together.
I've been playing cello most of my life.
I think I started playing guitar in second grade, and immediately kind of fell in love with like protest and like folk revival music. So that's kind of what I'm trying to write at the moment.
The Sidewalks Open Mic, or Open Stage, is widely regarded as New York's biggest and most well-known, if not the longest-running open mic. Performers are not invited, but rather self-signed up.
Each night at 7:30, we do sign up, and it's by lottery. So people draw a number out of a cup, and that whatever number they get, that's when they go. So if they get 1, they go first. If they get 2, they go second, all the way up until sometimes 40, 50, 60, 70 people. That's it. It seems pretty democratic that way. It's been going on since 1994, and there have been 2 or 3 different people that have hosted in that time. I mean, every week there are at least 40, 50 people, sometimes as many as 70 people come out to try to sign up, depending on the weather and kind of what's been going on that week. So.
Yes, she does, and she makes love just like a woman. Yes, and she aches.
There's everything. I mean, there's bluegrass, folk, hip hop, comics come out. Sometimes people read poetry or just do performance art, which is crazy.
The rooms that we built for those who visit are seldom.
For 4 or 5 minutes, the stage is yours. The sidewalk would wait until the last performer finishes. The small stage has seen talent, inspiration, passion, and dedication. Most of the performers have not made their names, but they are pretty good, and the audience will spare no effort to give the performers their support.
Open mic is a great place to start. First of all, you're getting inspired by other people who are playing. You're challenged to be better. Each week, you don't want to play the same song necessarily, so you're pushing yourself a little bit harder to try to learn a new song or write a new song. So I think just great to be around creative energy.
Yeah, we're in the process of recording an album of all original songs that he wrote, and we're hoping to be done with that by around April. Yeah. Even if something doesn't go perfectly in the open mic, it's a really good opportunity to just kind of go back into the practice room or into the rehearsal room and like see what we need to change afterwards. It's not definitely the way it's a little bit less formal. It's a really good learning experience for us.
I think the essence is really a coming together, a sharing, and being inspired. The more people that come, the more people that want to come because they all know something really cool is happening.